Business Academy family, what is up? And welcome to the Business Academy podcast, where we're going to help you build a staff-driven practice that can grow with or without you even having to be there. Our goal is to get you to that 4-week vacation outside of the office. Today, we're hanging out with Dr. Michelle Wozniak out of Denver, Colorado. And not only are we going to be covering what it takes to build a big practice, but to do it with little to no marketing through developing incredible patient experiences, as well as incredible results. And of course, success doesn't flow in clutter, and we'll tell you how to get more organized next. Dr. Michelle Wozniak with us. Dr. Michelle, oh my gosh, great to have you here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Ethan. This is such a treat. I love masterminding with you and all the other doctors at TBA. So thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Yeah. We were just out here in Clearwater, Florida. You had a chance to not just mastermind with our top doctors around the country, but you did an incredible seminar helping every practice, no matter what kind of practice you have, getting more organized, going paperless and decluttering and creating better flow and efficiency within each team member of the office. That's one thing I've always admired about you is you've been building a practice that can live beyond you having to be there by putting in systems. And like when you go in there, you don't hardly find a single sheet of paper out of place, if any paper at all. And also you've been able to do this while building really awesome relationships with your patient base and creating like a tribe of followers towards Lo-Hi Chiropractic. And you've done it with for the most part, very little marketing. And most of it is just built on this crazy, awesome reputation you build and the attention to detail you put into that patient experience. So I'd love to dive into that on today's podcast. But first, let's hear your story. I know our audience is curious to hear when you graduated and what your journey was like up to this point.
Absolutely. So I graduated from the University of Western States in Portland, Oregon back in 2012. I have no chiropractic background. No one in my family is a chiropractor other than I was just a patient since the ripe age of 12 years old. So I was kind of a chiropractic poster child. I suffered from migraines horrifically, and being from middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, chiropractic was not a huge thing when I was growing up. So we did the rigmarole of medical doctors, neurologists, psychologists, CT scans, MRIs. No one can figure out why a 10 to 12-year-old girl would be suffering from all of this, and just went the wrong route, as some of us unfortunately do. And then was introduced to chiropractic from a coworker of my dad's, and they took me there, and we were like, well, it's either going to work or it's not. And clearly it did. So I knew from the age of 12 that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to do it, but I figured I had a lot of time to figure it out. Because when you're 12, you're just like, well, I'll just, figure it out later. And it's interesting. Some of the strategies I used when I was 12 years old that innately come to me, I still use today. So, when I was a 12-year-old girl, when I was at my chiropractor's office, I'd have, a 5-minute adjustment. And then I would just ask, hey, doc, can I hang out in your office if I promise to not get in the way and not annoy anyone? And he said, sure. Why? And I said, because I want to become a chiropractor. I just want to see how it works. He said, cool. Perfect. So I would go there after school, just one day a week for a half an hour, just to look at the front desk and see the patients and just watch. And it's funny because even now in practice, I'm going to Dr. Randy Schneider's office. If you guys know who he is in 7th Division, I'm going to his office to spend 2 hours just to observe how they do it. And people would say, well, Dr. Wozniak, you're successful. Why would you spend time doing that? And I said, because you never stop learning. What works for me at 275, 300 patient visits a week might not work for me at 325 patient visits a week. So if Randy's office is bigger than mine and it's only 2 miles away, I just want to kind of see how those operations work and see if I want to tweak anything. So what I used to do back then as a kid, not knowing what I was really doing, is kind of still what I do now. And so when I went through chiropractic school, I didn't know which school to pick. Unfortunately, I accidentally picked the one that was more medically based, which is not really who I am on the inside. I just didn't know any better. So they're all do all the diagnostics and adjust 3 times and release the patient. That's what they teach you over at Western States. Unfortunately, there are no green books. There's no philosophy. There's none of that. Wow. That's like nay over there. And not knocking it. I mean, they graduate amazing diagnosticians and medipractors, but I was really missing the philosophy part of it. So I got an associateship with another doctor out in Parker, Colorado, so maybe 30 miles away from where I practice in downtown now. And some of us associates are lucky in that we work with these amazing doctors who are our mentors, and they teach us everything. We take those skills and then we replicate in our own way. I came from the associateship from you know where. The good news is I learned everything not to do. There was no systems, no procedures, no day one, no day two, paper everywhere, things lost all the time, angry, upset patients because billing was never correct. But they loved us doctors. So the fact that our practice actually grew was the biggest mystery of them all, because
like a miracle almost.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, when I leave this place, because he asked me to buy in, after being there for 3 years, he said, hey, do you want to buy in and become partners? And I said, well, I don't know. What does that look like? How much is that going to cost? He said, $90,000. How did you come up with that number? What do I know? I'm just young, blonde chiropractor who doesn't know anything, right? Doesn't know anything about business. So how'd you come up with that number? Oh, it's just about how much, it would cost. And I said, well, can I see your books? And I was like, what do you mean by books? And I was like, ooh, red flag.
First one right there.
Yeah. So then that was how I decided, well, if I'm going to take $90,000, I could buy into somebody else's practice that is surviving, or I could open my own. And I don't know how to do that. But I learned a very long time ago from someone who is much smarter than me that said, don't feel like you need to spend all of your time learning everything about everything. Instead, surround yourself with people that know everything about everything, and then just utilize their knowledge and then create the thing that you want to create.
That's good.
Yeah. So
that's really good.
If you're not good with banking and QuickBooks and coming up with budgets, find somebody who is, right? Like join a BNI group, join the chamber, and go to their office and talk QuickBooks for half an hour and bring them coffee and figure that out. And if you have money, hire them. And if you don't, then just take them out to lunch, thank them for their advice, and take what you can and just build from there until you make enough that you can afford their services. And they'll be happy 3 years down the road when you can, because now you're a client. So I always surrounded myself with people that knew more than I did and asked them if I could use their advice. And if I could pay them at the time, I would. And if I couldn't, I said I'd pay it forward or pay it back later.
Just figured out. That's awesome. So you were just constantly, since you're a kid, you're just a sponge for anything really, but in this case, the chiropractic business model. And that's really what it is. And I think that a lot of maybe some of our audience or listeners, maybe they've been here before, or maybe they know another chiropractor DC who's been in that mindset that a business runs one way, but treating patients and running an office, that's different. That's like not a business. You know what I mean? And it doesn't need to be run the same way. Thus, I'm going to make all these exceptions to how a business normally should be run. Give the T-shirt off my back, and not charge for services, and then complain later, 20 years later, while they're broke.
Yeah.
And don't run it like a business. And that's one thing you've done really well, is you're just constantly soaking in the chiropractic business side. You're not only an excellent adjuster, and you're very good at what you do as a chiropractor, but the business side is what I'm always impressed with your practice around with. So let me jump into like you going into practice. Was it always from day one, just like they tell you in school, just open up your doors and new patients start walking in?
No. They will open and they will come. That is a fairy tale in the movies, and that is not the case. So, but here's what you have to remind yourself. Like in the beginning, you're going to have either one or the other, either time or money. And for most of us in the beginning, when we're opening up a practice, we don't have any money, but we do have time. So finding ways to market for free is huge. And the funny thing is, I hardly spent a dime on marketing because I didn't have a dime. So I just had to quote unquote figure it out, guerrilla, grassroots. What can I do for free with my own time until I can get enough business generated where I can hire someone, or I can pay for like someone to produce content and run ads for me and maybe do that later, because I can't do it right away. I just don't have the funds. So it's all guerrilla and grassroots, and it's going to cost you time, right? So you can make those sacrifices in the beginning and say, I'm going to sacrifice for the first year or 2 or 3 in practice of all of my time, but then I need to savvy up and get smart and then be able to release those activities and delegate those to others so I can move up in the ranks of my own business. So a lot of it was cookie drops. I would bake cookies in my house and I would put them in a nice little box with a bow on it with my business cards and stickers and all this stuff. And I went around to my entire neighborhood, basically within a 1-mile radius. Knock, knock, knock. Hi. Oh, what's this office? Oh, this is an accounting firm. Oh, hi. Oh, my name is Dr. Wozniak. I just moved in. I'm your new business neighbor. So I just brought these cookies as, a goodwill gesture. Do you have a break room by chance? Oh, it's back there. Oh, could you walk me back there? As I'm walking back there, I'm visually seeing how big this office is, about how many people work there. I know if this is something where I could do a lunch and learn later, because I can see the physicality of the office as they're walking me to their break room. And then I'm just chatting. How long have you guys been in business? Cool. How many people work here? Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, this is where we're located. And as a complimentary service to all of our new neighbors, we do insurance verifications to see if your company has any chiropractic or massage benefits. Is there maybe like a manager or a boss? And I can just get that information, and we'll do that for free for your entire company. And you'll hear back from me within 72 hours. And if you'd like, I can come back and do a 30-minute lunch and learn and bring you a little bit more than cookies. And I can tell you what your insurance covers and what we offer. And we can set up some appointments and we can keep you guys rocking and rolling this accounting firm tenfold. Is that okay? Like, I literally did that every single day, multiple times a day. I felt like a baker. I was baking so many cookies and doing and it was amazing. I can't tell you how many 30-minute lunch and learns I did, because people are like, oh, we have insurance. Oh, we have benefits. Oh, we have a new chiropractor who's our business neighbor. And then I come by and I do that for quote unquote free, when really I just called my biller over at the practice that I used to practice at. I asked my boss, I said, hey, can I borrow our biller on a weekend, and can she verify all these insurances and I'll pay her cash? And he said yes, because I left on good terms. And that's what I did, because I didn't have a biller because I couldn't afford one. So that's what I did. And then farmers markets and passing out cards everywhere and littering, cars on their windshield with all my swag. And I mean, it was literally stupid stuff like that works so well.
But grassroots, like it's so important, especially in the beginning. I know there's a lot of DCs or future DCs that are listening that are like, what does it take from zero patients? Where do I start? And that's exactly where you start. It's networking, and it's gifting, and it's developing rapport, and just giving yourself. Because like you said, it's a perfect little formula. In the beginning, you have no money and lots of time, so use it wisely and use it productively. But then as we fast forwarded, you created a patient base. Now we're years later, and here you have this strong patient base. And now you have like the reverse, right? Like your time is very valuable because you're using it serving patients and running your business and managing your staff and your team. And you actually have income to work with. But then you've built this environment where you almost don't even need to do any marketing. You can see the volume you're seeing. So help us understand the environment that you build. Is it an environment-ish, a point of like the atmosphere you build for patients? Is it the relationships? Is it the results with your care? Is it all the above? Like, what best practice can you share that has got you to a point where you're getting passively 5, 6, 10 new patients plus in a week with like no marketing efforts, just the practice being there at this point?
Yeah. So again, why reinvent the wheel? I'm not the first chiropractor on the planet, for sure. So when you have chiropractor friends, people that you went to school with, or even better, mastermind groups, being with TBA for years, you have an instantaneous mastermind group of all different doctors, all different practice types, and all different locations. So instead of reinventing your wheel, you're just asking the people in your mastermind, what do you do? What works for you? What do you do? What works for you? What didn't work? Where did, all that kind of stuff. And you just gain information from them. And so really, when it comes to new patients, and anybody, any coach, any firm, any chiropractor will tell you that it costs way more money to bring in one new patient than to retain 10 existing patients. So instead of putting all this time, money, and energy into marketing, we put time, money, and energy into training during our day ones and day twos. And TBA has been so quintessential in not only helping me develop what I want my day one and day two to look like, but educating our new patients from day one, knowing that this is like a wellness practice, it's a family practice. We don't just put Band-Aids on things, we keep people healthy long-term. I feel like our PVA, our patient visit average, and retention, just for keeping people longer because they want to stay, because this is a lifestyle and not like a temporary fix, has automatically grown the practice internally with internal marketing. Because if patients are getting better and then they're staying, all the people that our existing patients come across on a daily basis, they're like, I have a great chiropractor for that. You hurt your shoulder, see my chiropractor. You got into an accident, see my chiropractor. The longer your existing patients are physically in your office, the more they organically learn and absorb from you. And then their referrals, when they refer their friends and family, is so easy for them. And we make it even easier by doing PGCs, which is a TBA specific internal marketing thing that has worked so well for us. It stands for public gift card. So on it, and they're plastic, they're like credit cards. And we used PGCs, we hand them out. It's their complimentary first visit, which is consult and diagnostics, and then their follow-up report of findings visit loaded with a 30-minute massage on there. The only thing that's not on there is the actual adjustment itself. But we pass those out to our patients. They love passing them out. And then we follow up on all those internal leads. And then we also got another golden nugget from TBA, which was Symptom of the Week campaign. Because the majority of patients think that it's neck and back pain, which we're experts at as chiropractors. They don't think of asthma, allergies, shoulder, bursitis, IT band problems, how to increase my running speed if I'm a runner. So when we do Symptom of the Week, which is every single week, we put it in 3 places. We put it on our social media and email blast. Hey gang, happy Monday. Symptom of the week is migraine. Symptom of the week is fibromyalgia. Symptom of the week is car accident. Symptom of the week is digestive distress, whatever. So we put that on an email blast and social media. Then we put it on, we have Chiro TV network. So it's like a huge TV.
I love Chiro TV. Chiro TV is, and it's great with that too. I love Chiro TV because you can have it playing and you can stick in your own videos in there too and have this continuous educational loop and branding loop happening inside the office.
Oh yeah, so we put it on like the scrolling tickler on the TV that says Symptom of the Week. And then we put a little sticky note on all the paper travel cards that we hand our patients. Like today's Symptom of the Week is fibromyalgia. Here's 3 fun facts. Dr. Wozniak's going to quiz you during your adjustment today. And then so my receptionist will hand it to the patient. Oh, hey, Ethan, welcome back. It's great to see you. Here's your travel card. Symptom of the week is fibromyalgia. Looks like table 2 is open. Dr. Wozniak will be there in about 30 seconds. Read these fun facts. She's going to quiz you. And I'll be like, hey, Ethan, how's it going? Good. Or what are we focusing on today? Regular and usual stuff or anything specific? Okay, adjust. So tell me one thing you know about fibromyalgia that you didn't know and how chiropractic can help. As in like adjusting them. So the table talk is so important. It's like a chiropractic patient curriculum. You know what I mean? And you're doing that all the time. And sometimes patients are really into it. Other times they don't care and just like go with it, whatever. But that's stimulating in their brains how to refer. And then we do like a ton of just, fun giveaways. Like I love being Oprah. I'm like, I love giving away prizes. I'm just like, it is Oprah all day in here. So at least once a month, usually twice a month if it's a holiday month, like Christmas or New Year's or something like that. We're always playing some kind of referral game where they're winning a big screen TV, they're winning an Amazon Alexa, they're winning a bike, they're winning something that's cool. People love to get free stuff. So it's like, hey, whoever can refer the most patients in the next 30 days gets like a 40-inch flat screen TV. How much does a 40-inch flat screen TV cost you? Like
$200,
like a couple $100.
Yeah.
And like right now, that's like a deck chair falling off of the Titanic. Like I don't even see it in the bank account. But at the beginning of practice, when every penny counted, I wasn't giving away big screen TVs. It was like a $25 set of wireless headphones. Like, I don't know, it was something cheap. So or
again, baked cookies that you made yourself at night and then just went and handed out in businesses in the area.
Exactly. So every single month we're doing that. So sometimes it's whoever refers in the most patients and then who actually schedule an appointment. We're going to give them something bigger like a TV. But then the next month it's whoever posts the most online reviews, and you can reuse the same review, and we'll give you a $100 gift card to Ruth Chris in downtown Denver. So they could literally write us a review, copy and paste it, and they could put it on Yelp, Google, Health Grades, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. So they could do it, 5 or 6 times. They get a ticket for every single time they do that. And we just draw it out, and there's the $100 gift card. Because we just want people to like us online and post, and then we'll do something else like, oh, we're going to give away like this cool cruiser bicycle for tagging yourself, or like we did one thing where it goes, if you pre-schedule all of your visits for a month out and you don't miss one visit, you get a raffle ticket to win this bike. That's what we did, because we were having a problem with patient show percentage. Like if you have 100 on the schedule and only 80 show up, that's an 80% show percentage. That's not good. Our goal is 90 or higher. So we would do that. You have to pre-schedule your visits, and you can't miss a single visit. Even with an emergency, you can't miss a single visit. If you do, it's fine. You just don't get a raffle ticket. So that was a big one. So it's all these fun games in your office. And what they're doing is they're increasing SEO. They're increasing patient participation on Facebook. They're tagging their friends. They're tagging us. They're referring their family and friends. And they're winning stuff, and they're having fun. And so it's things like that. And I don't have any original ideas. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have one original idea in my body. All of these things came from my mastermind, whether it was through, chiropractors in TBA, or if it was in our 7th division group, or it was chiropractic friends of mine that are posting this cool thing that they're doing in their practice. I'm just asking if I can use it, and the answer is always yes, and I'm always willing to share with others too. So
of course,
reinvent the wheel. And when and the nice thing is you're going to get probably 50 ideas, and when you're just starting out in practice, do the cheapest, most free ones first, because that's all you can afford, and then do the more expensive ones later.
I love that. That's great. So I'm gonna drill that down for a minute. So one, in the beginning, when you have time and no money, go out there and do the work yourself. And a lot of the philosophy of your promotions of gifting and gamification, you did in the very beginning, and even now too, just in different ways, which is awesome. Networking and getting on every single line of communication in the community and your local area, those around you. Just no excuses, right? And then now what you've done is you've incorporated the public gift cards. You have incorporated gamification with patient engagement, and also gifting with your patients as well. And it's funny, I was reading a book called Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman, and he talks about if you never want to lose a customer, you want to keep a customer for life, and in our case, a patient for life, to engage in the health and wellness lifestyle. Gifting is a big part of that. It's a different form of acknowledgement and creates a connection, and that's totally what you're doing. And also the patient experience side is not just the adjustment and pain relief, but it's the empowerment that you do, which is that table tick, that chiropractic talk, right? At the front desk, in the office, bedside, table side with the patient, that doesn't just get them out of pain, but again, it empowers them to be in control of their health and to connect their better health with what they're learning from you. And I've always found there's 3 things to create this exceptional patient experience. It's the table talk that you do and the empowerment and education like you talked about. It's the results that you can get, the quality of results you get with your care. That goes without saying. And then it's this atmosphere you build, this relationship that you create. So this whole environment of gamification and hospitality, and this is your home, and we're building a family, and we're here. We want, you're one of us, and then you use all these other tools, and then you extend the tribe out, and then people want to engage at different levels, and that's what builds your reputation up. And you get to a point right now, you're just doing a handful of consistent, workable, fairly inexpensive things in the office. And as a result, you're driving new patients, sometimes double digits each week without doing much besides the normal. You're not having to spend a ton of money on Facebook ads or dump a bunch of money into radio or into newspaper ads. You're cranking. And with that being said, Dr. Woz, let me ask you this: you have this volume of patients. You don't have this huge building or this huge office you're working in. You have a very conservative sized office that you do an amazing job mastering efficiency and utilizing every square foot to the max opportunity for revenue and for patient care. Tell us a little bit about how a doctor can go from, I mean, I know this is a whole presentation for an hour you'd have to go into, but how do you go from like stacks and stacks and stacks of organized chaos and begin the process of physically organizing the practice so that you can attract more success, because we all know success can't exist in clutter.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, if you have a humongous building in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, then you can probably get away with having a storage closet full of papers and crap and whatever. That's just not a luxury for me. I have an 1,800 square foot office and I pay $4,500 a month in rent. Like, this is not cheap. So for me, every single square foot that I waste on like storage for products or bottles of supplements or paper or file cabinets is money lost. Like, we don't have a break room. We don't have like a relaxation area for staff. We don't even have a place for staff to put their purse. Like, so like we are hardcore squeezing out every single square foot. So the first thing I recommend, like number one, we all have something that's bothering us as business owners, as doctors, as even like the managers, office managers or billing managers who are watching and listening to this podcast. It's like something's bugging you. So what you should do is just take a clipboard with a blank sheet of paper, maybe during a lunch hour or before and after work when no one else is there, and just slowly walk around your office and write down what it is that is irritating you. Like the refreshment station, like where we have coffee and tea and all that kind of stuff, is like always messy and dirty and it looks gross. That's irritating me. The fact that I know in my receptionist, I know that she has like 3 junk drawers. So she doesn't have clutter on her desk, but she's like hiding junk in a drawer. And every time I open it, it's like, I don't even know what's in there. That's irritating me. Having 12 file cabinets irritates me. Having it look messy behind the front desk because we have like 5 shelves of bottles of stuff and it just looks cluttered in here. That irritates me. So you need to figure out what it is that's not that is messy and cluttered. And that's the best way to do it. Just walk around and write it down. And then of all of those things, if you're really busy and you're really overwhelmed and you don't have time, start with the one that takes the least amount of time. So what I would do is, let's say I have a laundry list of 20 things that I want to fix, I want to scan and shred and clean up. I like to write a number next to all of those things. This is going to take me 5 minutes. This is going to take me an hour. This is going to take me 5 hours. This is going to take me a half a day. This is going to take me 45 minutes. So you have like all these little things. So then in the middle of your day or your week or whatever, look at your schedule and go, I have 25 minutes. What can I do in 25 minutes? Go to your list, find the thing that takes 25 minutes, do that thing, cross it off. Oh, patient care, adjust. Now I have a 10-minute break. What's on my list that takes 10 minutes? This, do it, cross it off. So it's this perfect list. And when you time it out and you have the discipline to tell yourself, when I have a micro break or when we have a half day at the office, these are when we're getting these things done. And that's how you can take something that feels so big and eat it piece by piece instead of taking down your whole elephant.
And people feel it energizes you. One thing I always notice about every DC that we work with, or even myself, whenever I just get off my butt when I'm tired, maybe I'm mentally kind of fatigued for the day and I have this like a 15-minute slot that I just want to kind of like decompress for a second. If I just go up and do something like that, that's productive and like handle one of those to-dos on the project list of decluttering, I feel more energized when the space is not full of junk or disorganization. I feel better. I mentally feel better. I have more clarity and I feel more mentally refreshed. And I'm like, I'm so glad I took that 20 minutes I had and tick that item off the list of decluttering and physically organizing the space, because now I have the energy I need to keep going and I can start seeing it. I can imagine this is how it is for most people. Like, you start to see one room after a couple of weeks of just bit and piecing it. You're like, oh my gosh, one room actually has files in the right place. There's these rooms. I have so much more space than I ever thought I could have, you know, and I can imagine it's very empowering.
It is, you know, and a lot of times doctors will say, or owners will say, I'm so overwhelmed. If you replace the word overwhelmed with procrastination, Then it's more like ownership of what you're not doing that you know you need to do. The reason we get overwhelmed is because we're replaying in our mind all the stuff that's like annoying us, that we never have time to do, that we want to do, and we're pushing it off because we're replacing it with something else. So if you say, well, I'm really overwhelmed, it's why I've really procrastinated on this. And then you just start like going down your list. One of the easiest things to do, this is kind of like a Marie Kondo declutter your life kind of an idea, but you walk into a manager's office, or if it's your office, and you just have like stuff and you don't even know what it is. Like you like have a pile of paperwork and you're not sure what it is because all these papers got intermingled. I tell people, like, whatever chairs that you have, like, take the chairs out, clear the floor so it's just a nice clean floor, and then take all of these papers that are all over your desk and are shoved into drawers and just start making piles. Look at a piece of paper and go, that looks like a bill, put it on the this looks like a receipt, put it on the floor. This looks like a chart note, put it on the floor. This looks like something for my taxes, put it over there. This looks like a piece of marketing that I'm saving for when I want to do later someday, put it over there. And then you can take sticky notes and just write marketing materials, taxes, bills that need to be paid, charts, EOBs, whatever. And now you have all these stacks around you on the floor. So at least it's visually organized. So then you know where it is. And then just take binder clip them all together. And then just decide, what do I need to do first? Well, it's probably chart notes so you can get paid and make money. Hurry up, do that first. And then, or maybe it's a stack of bills that aren't paid. Do that. Right. So, and then it helps you visually see, like, what's the most important thing that needs to get done right now? What can I put off until later? And then when you make these piles, then you can look at them and go, actually, I can delegate this to somebody.
Right.
I'm going to delegate it to you, and I'm going to delegate it to you. And then now you're spreading this workload off of you and you're giving it to others, and they'll be thankful for it because they feel like they're contributing and producing and they become more valuable. And let's say it's something that you want to delegate to a staff member, but they don't know how to do it. What a perfect opportunity to create a new SOP, a new standard operating procedure with a little snippet of training. Teach them. Now it goes into their training binder. So if they ever leave, the new person that comes in, now this is a part of their regular repertoire of their job duties, and the training is already in there. So now you're not only cleaning and you're decluttering, but now you're delegating and you're creating new procedures, and you're building these little training manuals organically. And now you're spreading that work around so you don't have people sitting around doing nothing and trying to look busy when the doctor pops out of his office.
Right.
And now the doctors and the managers aren't overwhelmed.
That is so good. So not only do you take it's like a domino effect of decluttering to delegating to training and to accountability, which only takes more hats off your plate. And every time I talk to one of you rock star, just incredible freaking DCs, it's like you hear that over and over again. The shedding of hats and roles to team members is a common denominator. I was just talking to Dr. Andy Wright on our previous episode, and he's just, again, gave us the formula, like, of how to, recognize your hats, lay them all out, and start delegating and training on a regular basis, setting accountabilities, and next thing you know, you have time, and you get people performing at a high level, and they sometimes do it better than you do, and you can kind of see this whole chain effect of how to go from decluttering to SOP to training and delegation. That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, the definition of great leaders is getting others to get the work done. And I know a lot of times, when you think about, chiropractors, not only do we want to help people get healthier and, change the world one person at a time, but at the end of our days, when we're getting into our 40s and 50s and 60s and we're looking for retirement, what we really wanted to create was a legacy. And you can't create a legacy if the world revolves just around you. And if some of us have an ego around that, you're allowed to have an ego. If you want it to be all about you and have it say Wozniak Chiropractic on the door, and you're the only body who can adjust the best way possible, that is your truth, and that's true for you. And you are going to enjoy that for all the years that you practice, but there will be nothing left after you're gone. And if you're okay with that, you're okay with that. But when you do the rocking chair test, you're 75 years old, you're sitting on your rocking chair on your porch, and you go, what did I leave legacy-wise, especially when it came to my office? Like, did you empower people to have a business carry on without you? Did you mentor these amazing associate doctors that you had that became, your clinical co-owners, and they're living the life of their dreams, where they get to like have that, I'm an owner of a chiropractic office, but I don't have the owner responsibility, so I can have a family and kids and a life? And did you turn, these receptionists with goals and dreams but no education into junior executives that are running things without you, and they're exponentiating and making, six-figure salaries? Like that, those are like chiropractic legacies that you can leave, other than just, I was great for the 30 years that I did it. And it all starts with marketing in the beginning and get it ramped up, and then just keeping that engine running in an easy way, staying organized, because when you're organized, you free up all of this space in your brain to create and to imagine. And when you can create and imagine, that's how all these good ideas come to you. And then you just learn how to start implementing, and it's like this beautiful snowball effect. But if you're bogged down from clutter and being disorganized, and you feel like you and your staff are losing paperwork all the time, and your patients love you, but they're upset because their billing is never right, and then they end up leaving, this is how you stay small. It's not always, for a lot of people, it's not about profits or like big numbers. They just want to help people. Well, you still need to have these same ideals and systems of, we do it right from the beginning to the middle to the end. We don't make mistakes. We respect our patients' time. We respect our patients' money. And so we never waste their time, and we never mess up their money. And even if you're only seeing 30 patient visits a week, like, you better have that honed in, because if you do, you're going to blink and you're going to be at 300, and then you're going to blink and you're going to be at 900, and you're going to blink and you're going to be at 3 practices. And it won't really feel that much more work for you. So that's
so true. I think you buttoned it up perfectly and recapped us on everything perfectly for today's episode. So I know your time is very valuable, Dr. Wozniak. As we wrap up today's podcast, in a minute or less, what's one thing that you wish you knew when you first went into practice that you know now that you want to share with our audience today?
Start with coaching immediately. I am so blessed to have had just such amazing coaching and masterminding. Like I said, I don't have one original idea in my body. It all came from coaching and consistency and masterminds, but I didn't start doing that until after maybe 3 or 4 years in practice. I could not imagine coming out the gates with that tool in my hand, because then I would have gotten where I am probably a whole heck of a lot faster. So definitely coaching, and then keep growing through coaching, just up the ante. What's the next game? What's the next, thing to go for? That's what I would say, big time. I would never be where I'm at without the expertise of others. Never.
Dr. Michelle Wozniak, the ultimate boss babe, making it happen. For those in the that are listening, we have the GSD Club, the Get Shit Done Club, and Dr. Wozniak is at the head of that group, forwarding that cost forward and putting it into practice. So, Dr. Wozniak, thank you for taking your time out of Denver, Colorado. Hope you're enjoying a beautiful day. It's turning to summer over there, so we hope you guys have some gorgeous weather and are able to serve more patients. And we appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Keep GSDing.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it for this episode's podcast. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one, where we can help you build a staff-driven practice that can grow with or without you, with the mission to get you on a 4-week vacation with the practice of your dreams and build a legacy. See you guys in the next one. Take care.